Hello. Which we test drove a little bit, and it was very interesting.
Oh man, I just realized that my mic was still muted here at the beginning. Okay, so I'll say it again. Welcome back, Arena of the Contest here, Flanks oh 06. Tyson here with me. We're going to be talking about Kickstarter update number 59. Um, Normally we or what we were trying to go for tonight, of course, is boss versus boss reveal, but we're missing some components. But we should be getting those hopefully this next week, and then so next Friday we'll do unveil the boss versus boss mode.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so let's kind of just jump into this new update that we got this last week. So, update number 59 had a lot to do with the new campaign and kind of like how quests are, how you progress through the game. There's a little mention here about King of Averages video, so if you haven't seen that, give it a quick check. I think at least you can jump to the one section where he talks about Arena of the Contests and how it's the best he's ever played, best campaign he's ever played. At least for the original mode. But this new one sounds just as exciting. So to start off here, it looks like they came up with a new map, which was pretty interesting, especially for RPG. We're going to be getting. In July that campaign should be coming out. Looks like they've added a ton of stuff. I believe this middle section here, maybe you remember as well about the map. I don't know if it had this section that kind of like bridged the top and the bottom or not. At least off the top of my head here. And they've definitely really expanded like the mountain area, and we're seeing a little bit more of kind of like this peninsula type thing. So the map is just in general way more detailed than it was previously.
Yeah, it's a pretty significant change, but I think overall it's a better change because it adds more variety and a better flow for the continental feel,
Yeah.
especially when you're jumping into an RPG. So I think that's a good and an appropriate change.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously this is not a really great picture that we have here. This is just kind of a teaser really more than anything. Obviously we'll get a much better one later on once we get closer to the RPG. All right, the other news that came out with this update was regarding shipping. So I know a lot of you waiting for shipping. Basically, not even really that much more news other than that everything's ready to go. It's ready to be start shipping, and they're gonna send out the actual vessel tracking information. It sounds like here pretty soon once those all the containers get filled up and then the vessel leaves, we'll get some information on that so you hardcore trackers out there can follow it at every step of the way. And then we also got this legendary box unboxing, which is a really short, quick one, and we'll just play it here real quick. All right, so super short and sweet video there. We got the three tray levels. One of them basically mostly being empty because you'll be able to put your box of the legendary box characters in that first tray, and then of course all the villains and bad guys on that second one, and then the bosses at the bottom along with the 3D walls, and then all the cards you need to go with it. So yeah, short and sweet there.
One thing I took for granted because Arena was actually the first Kickstarter I backed,
Yeah.
but since then I've backed a few more, and their storage system that they provided is legendary compared to the rest that I've backed. I backed one that literally had no storage system. You just unbox everything that they provided. They're like, I guess you just throw it in free floating. And so like the community had to make things to like print out and then cut up and like put them in there. It was kind of crazy. So I really appreciate Dragori like taking the time to make stuff like this where it's a big lifestyle change for people to be able to set it up like that.
Well, and just generally, I like something that's actually usable.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a couple variations of them giving you the sorting tray that like basically doesn't even you can't even sort or organize any of the content in any way. And so it's just kind of useless. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe you can put a couple things, but it's not very useless. And then I've seen the other way around where there is more organization, but it's poorly done. And we see a lot of like miniatures that are either too tight into their spaces and they start you either damage the miniature because trying to get them in and out of their spots, or they're too open and then they end up just flying around the box, and it was kind of pointless to even have it to begin with.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go to the main section here, which was about quests and how this is going to go. And here they kind of talk about how the original campaign was done, but we'll focus more on how it's going to be for Tanares Adventures. So you have quest cards, and those will be divided into weekly decks. I believe didn't they say it was I think it should be seven. Is it seven? How many weeks was there supposed to be? 4 weeks? Seven? Five?
Definitely more than four.
Yeah. I will say that they do mention in here that there is each quest takes 3 days, and then later on in the campaign or in this update, they mentioned that 42 days is in your calendar where you'll write down that time for a single or every single day of the campaign. So I'm assuming based on the math, if you say that each quest takes I don't know if it's 42 days as in like 42 quests, or it's 42 days in the whole calendar. And if it's 42 days in the whole calendar, then obviously doing some math there, I think that comes out to like 14 quests in a campaign. But maybe it's actually 42. And then also there's the other thing to remember that technically you could be playing two parties at the same time. So maybe it's actually like double that in a single campaign.
That's exactly what I was going to say because you can have two separate parties. So
Yeah.
there's a lot that you can do, which I think is really cool because, I mean, even if you change one thing, it could very quickly change the rest of the game.
Yeah,
Um,
and that is kind of what they detail in here too, is about how it's not just like do A, then go to B, then go to C or something like that. It's you're gonna go through and you have like maybe 3 or 4 choices of quests to complete in that week or so. And then this is just me kind of throwing out an example of what they kind of gave here. And maybe you can complete like 2 of those, but then the other one you may not be able to complete, and then there's consequences for not doing those actions. And then also, in addition to that, there also is consequences based on how well you performed,
mm-hmm.
which I thought was kind of interesting. So I'm gonna jump back to these pictures here later, but they mention about
The
saving this
blacksmith's daughter.
blacksmith's daughter. Yeah, exactly. And so they mention that, oh well, there's, consequences if you save her or you don't. But then even better is if you complete the objective and the secondary objectives, you'll accomplish this. Diana is healthy, which is the daughter. But if you failed to do the secondary objective and only completed the primary objective, you'd get Diana is in a coma. And I guess, something that I thought, this whole time when reading how they were going about this reminded me of those Choose Your Adventure type books. You remember those?
Those were the best when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly. And so what you do is based on which quests you do and how you completed those, you'll get these different achievements or facts, and these will apply to what will happen in the future. And basically it'll say, and I think they give the example, I think it's further up here. They give the example. It's like, if you rescued Diana, go to page 518. Otherwise, go to 519.
Hmm.
And so a lot of that choose your adventure type stuff, impacts of what decisions you made. There was a point that I think I saw in the comments about someone saying, "Well, what if you fail?"
Hmm.
I don't know. In my opinion, I don't think Dragori is planning actions based on if you fail. I think it's only successes. So, whether you've chosen this one and you've gone down this path and completed this one, or you went the other way, there's something for. But I don't think there is oh, well, you failed, so now go to this one. I think the idea is you just replay it, again until you beat it. But I'm not sure about that. That one wasn't actually detailed in this update, but it was a good point.
Yeah, it hasn't been detailed in any update yet.
No.
Um, I the first campaign that Dragori put out with Arena the Contest, that's how they did it. Was if you failed the mission, you would just go back through and do it again. And it also had secondary quests and even sometimes like third and fourth objective things that you can do to help you progress farther in the game and get more experience, or a level 3 artifact, and things like that. And so I don't see them really changing that aspect of it, of like, well, you failed this, so here's the consequences. And not to
Yeah.
mention, if you failed, your heroes would actually be dead.
Yeah.
So you would kill off any heroes that are in that, which, I mean, granted, there's now like, what, 40 heroes
Yeah.
to pick from. So
Well,
2%
and
of them dying is not that big of a deal, but at the same time, like,
I
it's,
think they did, something that they were going to be implementing as a way for you to be able to like switch out heroes in your, campaign too.
yeah.
So, um, that being an aspect of changing, guys and out, maybe, it could be possible. When I played the Arena of the Contest original campaign, I actually did kind of just implement my own system of, well, if this hero died in this quest by the end and wasn't resurrected, then he was like dead. And the only way to, like continue on is you had to recruit a new hero.
Hmm.
But, that's just obviously my own homebrew there. But anyway, so we get some really awesome art in here. There's a ton of art, which is pretty awesome. And fun to see. Another little point. This is kind of a little tidbit here from this. Is looks like they started making some changes to the miniatures here as they're going through the process of developing these. And basically, this is, I think, the same idea that they used in doing the reworked heroes. Basically, you get these models that have really good details and everything, but they're not going to come out great on once it's actually printed out. And so what they're doing here, right, between the purple and then now this like tan color, they made the weapon a little bigger. Same thing with this one here with the dragon head and then the sword coming out of it. They made these a little bit bigger with more refined detail. So you'll be able to actually see that, and it won't just turn into kind of what we saw with the original Arena of the Contest Heroes, where they just kind of came out blah because all the details weren't well defined enough in the sculpts, and so it just kind of came out meh.
Hmm.
And then similarly, we see some of the one of the other characters here. Was it Hirotus? Um,
I
some
think he's one of
changes.
the crossover
That's
heroes.
right. Yeah, he's a crossover hero character, and same kind of thing. Larger sword here, and then identifying some of the detail on the back of his cape here.
Yeah, I
So
think that was a hard learned lesson for Jagori the first time they did that was just because your digital render is really good doesn't mean that the mold is going to come out the exact same. And so um,
exactly.
they did a lot of tweaking in order to do these reworked, which we've seen a bunch of videos of the reworked, and they look awesome.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see, get some of those new heroes, man. Like Rurik just looks amazing. I can't wait to get that on my hands.
That's fair. I'm like because I play a Minotaur in my D&D campaign, and I've been using Morlo, so
Yeah.
I want the reworked one where there's so much detail in there. He's gonna look fierce on that battlefield.
Yeah. All right, going back to the update here, a couple other little items that they talk about here. So we mentioned about like these facts and having this in the fact log or whatever, um, and how it's going to guide your campaign. Well, they also talked about how different people have their own interpretation of um, how much they want to commit into the campaign, right? Maybe you have the people that are just wanting to show up and play a quest and not really dive in for a hour reading session, or even 30-minute reading session into what was happening all before and what's happening next. So they're providing these fast action text boxes that will help kind of get people up to date, and along with that is like these previously on, Tanares Adventures type thing. And so I guess they're going to be using some of these facts to kind of help guide that. And so that way, you save your spot right in the book, and then go open that, and it'll show you the quests that were connected to that previously. So kind of help get you the jump on it. And of course, if you don't want to do the fast action, you can just read through the whole thing and enjoy all the sweet lore that's probably attached to that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
well, I was gonna say I think that's also a good change too because the original campaign was compared to this relatively short and not a ton going on, and
Yeah.
I still found myself like every single time we sat down to play because we did it like once a week or every other week, and I was like, okay, remember we were at the Iron Hand Fortress and we were able to save the VIP and all this stuff, and so that we could like build up to even just reading the script for the next campaign. So that's kind of cool. The previously to just break it down really quick.
Yeah. Definitely be good. I really like this art here of kind of like this ruined city and the statue in the center. It's pretty cool.
Uh, it's very the artwork is varied in the cityscapes of like very drab and dreary, and then very bright and brilliant, and
Yeah.
it's kind of cool that they're mixing the different cultures that cities can bring, especially on an entire continent. Um, like the southern states are very different from like the northern states or the west coast, and kind of they're all on the same continent, so it's not unheard of to have such variety. And so I think it's cool that they included that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, anyway, that is kind of the main points from this from Kickstarter update number 59 for the Tanares Adventures campaign. I will say that if you've had questions about like what's in the pledge manager and what's in each of the boxes and how do I check my what my pledge level is and what add-ons do I have, or if I'm first wave or second wave. I actually did a video on this quite a while ago, where I covered a lot of these questions you have. So if you want to check that out, make sure to go check out my video for that. I'll put a link at the bottom, and probably like a card for it. And that should be able to get you back on track. I've seen quite a few questions for that in the Kickstarter campaign, so I just wanted to make sure to address that. And then, of course, if you have any questions in general about the campaign or how things are going to work, be sure to let us know here in the comments, or in the Discord that we run here with the community in whole. It's getting pretty big now. We're getting pretty close to 500 members, which is awesome. I expect pretty easily jump over that once we, uh, once the RPG book campaign comes out. I expect quite a few more people to jump in for that. But anyway, that's all I really wanted to talk about for today. Like I said earlier, next week we'll try to do the boss versus boss reveal. So we'll hope to see you there. All right, thanks, Tyson, for coming,
Yep, no worries.
and we'll see you guys on the next one.